The Royal Horticultural Society have said we are in crisis. The industry is lacking youngsters coming through. This is Eggleston Hall Gardens, and over the next 12 months we're going to take you on a journey of what it's like to run a nursery garden. This is a favourite walk. You can see how clean the air is by the amount of lichen on the trees and the moss just hanging over the rocks. It's an old quarry and the hall was built from the rocks that were quarried from way up there. There's something beautiful about riverside walks and just woodland riversides. There's something, this place is an SSSI, it's a place of special scientific interest, and nothing in here is changed. It's just nothing is cleared up, it's just left as nature intended it to be. You can see the woodpeckers will have a feast in that old stump, pulling out insects. It's the 1st of January, the beginning of January, and we're really starting to get a sense of winter now. Oi, what do you think you're looking at? You're a poser.
These are all different varieties of astilbe that we brought down from the perennial beds, and we cut them back and now we're going to divide them and put them on. So we make lots more of the astilbes, and there are different varieties.
Thank you very much, Clara. Let's go and we've brought down all the perennials, have we?
Yeah, we have actually. There's lots more in some other beds as well. So we have got a lot of potting to do.
And a lot of division. Not everything can be divided, it has to go up. It depends on the root. But Clara's just going to... Sorry, you can hold on to that.
Don't need your finger in the camera.
Oh God, I've always got my finger in somewhere.
Remember to smile.
I'm smiling, I'm smiling.
Yeah, you're a charming young man.
Fucking photogenic. Now, so we should take them out, and we're doing these. When you divide a thing like the stilbes, we do it with machete, or I do. So we chop it in half, and then I use a little rake. Wolf Tools do these, and I'm not getting paid for saying Wolf Tools. It just happens that they have these interchangeable heads. So you can put a trowel on it and things like that. A little sharper one there, a little cultivator. So they're handy for just, you need to break out these roots. Can you see those? Can you get those back? You don't want to rake off the next year's shoots. But we're just going to, so we'll put those over there. And it's just teasing them out. Don't swear, Clara. It's not clever. It's not big. It's not smart. Bad language is not fucking clever. Right, you can turn that off now because you're going to show us how to pot them.
Okay.
Right, come on, then turn the pot on. So, once we've chopped them up.
Now, this is a Stilby Spartan.
Spartan.
And I'm potting them up, putting one in each and then chucking it everywhere. A little bit more compost on.
You do that again because I missed that.
I'll do that again. You have to be quick, you know.
Yeah, if you just slow it down a bit.
Well, I put a little bit of compost there, so it's a bit more level. And then put the compost, and then you probably noticed I'm tapping it like that. Tamping just gets the compost all nice and down in between the roots and all that. And that will grow nicely.
Excellent.
And be flowering in summer.
Very pleased.
Because we're in January now.
We are, aren't we?
You sure?
Don't say it's the 29th of December. This is for the first week of January, week 1. Yeah. Well, the idea is to do some videos for each, so that you can see how we do things on the nursery for each day. Well, each week of the year. I can't do it every day. You get on me tits. But we've thinned out the borders quite a lot this year. This over the bottom of our borders, it's the old potting compost. We're trying to raise the fertility and the tilth. Many of the borders have been really trimmed out, and it's my plan in my last year or two to thin them out and replant with a lot of interesting stuff. It's quite good to leave something behind you on this earth. That there, that's quite interesting. Look there, I've got 3 or 4 of these around. We've had some hedgehogs this year that were born, and we found some bundles of leaves, and what I've done is put a couple of logs and a piece of metal over the top, and he was hibernating in there. We've got several of them all around the place now. Isn't that wonderful? Symbiotic, as they say. Look at that January garden. Bleak as hell. Yeah. Never mind. It will get better. If you follow us for the year, and each week we'll try and get an update of what we're doing. But it's going to start off crappy because it is horrible. January and February. It's as rough as a badger's arse in here, around here. Talking of perennials, we bring them down up from the top of the beds, to the top beds, but if you look here, they're brought down and cleaned up, what we call shouldering, taking the weed and when you take that top layer of soil off around here, we call it shouldering. We remove it, and that gets rid of a lot of any spores or fungus or seeds. But we'll be potting these up for the next couple of months in between other things. It is an incredibly busy time of the year. It's not an easy time. We're always busy. We're always as busy as hell, but what you're doing in that busyness changes. And at the moment we're busy preparing plants and sterilising beds, pressure washing all these paths have got to be pressure washed. And then in the summer it gets busy with customers and watering, and spring you've got a lot of propagation, and autumn you've got a lot of propagation. So hopefully as the year goes by, yeah, nice display. Fucking give them fairy lights. As the year goes by, you'll see what it's like to work a nursery garden, because there's very few left now. They're all garden centres, or nurseries have gone, so they tend to be nursery gardens of which were the original. They've all gone. I think there's one other in this country now. 400 years it's been here in one form or another. What we don't have is the winters, the cold weather, the frosts and the snow that we used to get, and that's quite worrying, and it's, you know, it's quite concerning. It feels like you need a good freeze up sometimes. But I just sound like an old man now. Now here's a really interesting thing. Look at this tree. This is an old oak. You can tell by the fissured bark. It's really craggy and gnarled and sort of ancient looking. And I'm not talking about Clara. But the important thing is to look at it is these burrs. You see these lovely burrs. People that make furniture and music boxes and walking stick handles, they love these burrs because they can slice them off, and then the wood inside is really beautifully patterned and unusual. Johnny's clearing up the borders for winter. Being our border man and having been gardening all his life.
Bordering on insane.
It's a valuable asset because it's getting harder these days to find anybody that wants to bend their back to do gardening, and it's just one of those things. See, good that the snowdrops are just coming through. Just starting, and it's just turned New Year.
That's a bit better. Stops it rubbing.
Yeah, stop it rubbing them, because I don't like it with the random boats. Oh, hey Malcolm, hey.
Hello.
Oh, Christ. I'm looking at these hollies that you've done, they look beautiful.
Thank you, Malcolm. We try our best, you know.
I'm trying to get my leg over here.
I'm not.
What are you doing?
Tying in and potting on conifers.
So we're going this year, hollies, large conifers, and then start the trees. I hadn't realised how nice those young hollies look.
Yeah, very good, aren't they? Very well. A newly potted deodore with.
Well, we're happy now.
Have these all been top dressed and?
These ones are newly potted. The Roman candles.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
All of these trees from our young maiden trees, they're just put into bundles in their letters. These are the S's: Sorbus, Salix, so on. Couldn't think of another one. Syringas. There's the B's: Betulas, C's, Carpinus, Cotoneasters, Crataegus. And we tie them in bundles, and then the beds are sterilised, and then they put back, repotted if they need it, fertilised, top dressed where we put fresh compost on the top. It's really important to do this. What we're doing is, you can get a bit closer if you want. what we're doing is just going to some of these astilbes, they're we've got plenty of them, but they're pot bound, and we can either put them in a bigger pot or we can pile them down a bit. So we remove part of the old root ball, it's put them into fresh compost. It just helps instigate the growth of more roots, so the stuff grows better, and you can rake them down. Now, if it was a very large plant, or larger still, we could go through the middle and get two, which I would do if we had a shortage of them, but we've got plenty, and it's just a question of teasing out these roots. I used the machete to cut part of it off, but it's if you can tease the roots it's better, but it's a bit of a fanny on with all the way around, so we get off the worst. And you can see these new shoots coming here, so you have to be a bit careful that you're not getting them. And then they just go into a pot there and are transferred to Elizabeth. So, having done my part of the equation, over to Elizabeth.
So we'll pop a little bit in the bottom, level that out a bit, grab one, just loosen it off a bit if needs it, any scraggy bits. Pop that in, tuck the roots in, get a good scoop to hold it up a bit, because otherwise it'd be too low down the pot. A bit each side. Tuck it down with your fingers, make sure it's at the right level. Give it a clonk to settle the soil down. Compost. Some more. Sometimes you get odd scraggy bits again. And just leave space to get the water into the pot. But it'll settle a bit anyway when it gets watered. There we go.
One of hundreds. Excellent. Now, these plants, if we look at these plants, they don't really need potting up. They're not particularly full of root. They were potted last year. However, it's always a good idea. Not everybody does. But what we could do is put a plug of fertiliser in there, just make a hole and put a few grams of fertiliser in. But what I like to do is to just shoulder them. And I think it's really important, because you're taking off all the seed, old seed, weed seed, any spores or fungus that's on the top. You're just getting rid of it. Just get rid of that loose stuff. And then you just need a little bit of slow fertiliser around the top. And then you see that's much cleaner there. This one's had the fertiliser added. And then just a nice top dress. There you are. And put it with the others. That's it. At the risk of sounding like Uncle Albert, when I was a boy, we had to write all labels by hand. Now, go on.
We have an Excel database with all the names, descriptions.
Yeah.
Just simply search. I want to still be Bon, B-O-N-N. Come up there. It's come up. Put the price in, which is the same as the last ones, and I only want 7 of them. Magic.
Look at that. When you got 100 or 200 of a plant to do, it's pretty invaluable. Yeah. So I think there's 3,500 things on the database that we grow. And the good thing is that we can do our own write-ups. So if we want to say that a plant is good, we can. And if we want to say that a plant is crappy, we can say that as well. Now that might sound really daft, but sometimes it's good to be honest about plants, ones that we have to grow because they're asked for. These are studios. I don't know if anyone's ever been in here. We have 2 artist studios. I'll have to film them later on. Some wonderful pictures. I'm never sure if they grow. There's some of Teesdale. Yeah. I'll go into that in more detail sometime. There's lots of cards. See, now these are little pictures from around the gardens. Now this is really good. We make, or Amanda, who has the downstairs studio, she makes up letters of bits of plant or things she sees around the gardens. There's a G. There's an M. There's an N. There's a J on torn bark. I don't know what that is. Well, I suppose that's an I. Yeah, it's because it comes after H. There is a B. There is an E. I've never been very arty-farty, but I have these 2 ladies here. Now this was done in the potting shed. You look at this. Look at these little boys. There, you see? Oh, look at that. They were on a ladder in the potting shed, and they'd hatched there that year. Just got to come up with a way of not reflecting. As and when they become ready, from early January on, we can start potting up Alpines. Now these Alpines were propagated, when was this? About late July. And not all of them are ready. And to be honest with you, it's not a perfect time to be doing them. However, if we were to do them later on, all of them, there would be just too much ready at the same time. So if we can get away with doing them early, we will. And it's just a question of breaking them out of the pot. I usually get, depending which Alpine it is, I can get anywhere between 9 and 20 odd into a little 7 centimetre pot. They're not hard to do. You'll see that when we actually get to July. Assuming they ain't dead yet. So it's just a question of breaking them out. You can see that's nicely rooted. It's just a little saxifrage called Dr. Clay, Saxifrage paniculata. And we're just going to fiddle it in there. It's not hard to do them, and they actually look really. They grow really well. They're a quick turnover plant. You can grow Alpines, propagate them in July, and they're ready for sale in the following spring. They make a lovely little plant. And we're just going to put a little bit on the grit on the top just to make them look nice, keep a little bit of the weed growth down, and it has lots of benefits. Keeps the lichen in. You can see that'll grow away nicely. There's that pot there just waiting to be broken up, and there's all the little ones from a previous pot. It's just a fiddly little job. I can't do much because it's absolutely frozen outside at the moment. Here you can see there's a few we did earlier as they became available, and they're so easy. We just sit down and do them with a little scalpel. Late July, listen to the cricket. These are just not. There's a lovely helianthemum here, and it's called Raspberry Ripple. You can see I've got about 18 in a pot there. I would think that they're reasonably rooted too. Let's have a little look. Yeah, you can see there's lots of adventitious roots. Now, I could start potting them anytime. There's no hurry, but if we've got a day where we can't get outside, well, we can just come in here and fiddle arse on with a few of them. You can see there's other things. They're easy plants. Some are a bit more difficult than others, but generally they're easy. And the Alpines that you buy in garden centres, it's the same old ones. Boring bloody things, same old plants. and they all nearly all came from a central source. So that's what we do anyway. Things about here is this nursery is it slopes both ways, north to south, east to west, and it's absolutely knackering. Pushing barrows up here. Elizabeth has come from the potting shed to barrow plants up, and unfortunately there's no other way around it. Everything has to be barrowed. There you go. I think I should charge my staff for the cardiovascular exercise they get. Even worse up there. This time of year we can't use the tractor and trailer because, well, the ground just cuts up. Look at those lovely salix. That's Salix britzensis. Beautiful thing. I've stalled that one. I think there's a couple more up there. Yeah. And there's supposed to be some work going on here, but I can see fuck all work going on. Well, where's she off?
Get the potter you've forgotten to bring up.
Oh, bollocks.
She's off, she's running. Here. You know how those 60 litres she was bringing up?
Yeah.
Trying to be all proud, thinking, oh, I can carry that many.
Yeah.
She had to stop twice halfway to take breath.
It's the way youngsters are, Thomas.
What do you mean? I'm still young and I'm not that daft.
No.
I know my limits.
Well, you don't want to get big bollocks, do you? That's the trouble.
Right.
Oh well.
This one, well, guess what you want them putting into?
60s.
You think straight in the
Yeah,
60s?
don't you? Oh, it's a beautiful tree. Let's go
It's
off.
going to be a beauty, yeah. I just want to
Let's-
see whether you
yeah.
want to keep it slower or not. No, I can certainly put it into 60 if you
Yeah,
want to.
stick it in a 60, Thomas. Get it down the bottom and make it look nice. There's a lot to do here, isn't there? There's some heavy work here. You're going to be all right with
Yeah,
two of you?
yeah, we'll just take it, when we get some of the heavy stuff, we'll take it easier. There's only really going to be after these, there'll be those wonky spruces in 60s, and then a lot of the other stuff might say 35s, but there might just be a big pine over there and some stuff going in the 90s or something.
Yeah. Is there anything worth clouding?
No,
They look nice, don't they?
could be, yeah. They ended up being very, very thick this year. Well, not necessarily thick, but when I cut the candles, they look a bit messy because the needles got flaming huge compared to what they should be. Don't know why, whether it was just when they were newly potted on last year.
Essentially, potting a big plant's just the same as doing a little one. It's just harder. Have you put too much compost?
Yeah. These ended up.
Where's she gone with them pots then?
I ain't got a clue.
Probably needed a wee.
I ain't got the blower now, so I'll get a
Do you
drink.
want me to hold that?
Yeah, just try and make sure it's straight.
I got that. It's very hard holding this camera.
Oh, does that look straight to you, Malcolm, before I temp it?
Yeah, looks okay. Well, it was until you cockled it over.
Too far.
Yeah, that's about it.
I'll have to wait for me. I was going to say glamorous assistant, but more like useful tool before we'll carry on.
Oh, here it comes.
Now we do Barry.
Yeah.
rhythm.
Up, down,
Oh,
up, down, up, down,
that's starting to look
Up, down.
pervy to me.
up, down. And down. Huh?
Just a couple.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just spread that out.
Look at her giving, telling people what we're doing.
Leaving like a
know.
little like at the top for water. To just sit on the top.
Clara, our viewers aren't simple. It's okay.
Some of them are. I get comments from some of them,
You need to just like describe what you're doing.
and there are one or two simple ones.
Yeah, but
One of them told me I should go to my drawer, take out a sock, and put it on the end of my cock.
Well, go and do that. Have you
For
tried
what
it?
reason?
I don't know, because
Keep
it's
it
something I
warm.
said in a video. I don't know.
Put a sock on the end of...
I'm sure you have said that.
Did they
I
say
wouldn't
put a
say
sock
that.
on a
I think
knob?
that's really
'Cause if you put a sock on a doorknob, it means a completely different thing.
What does it mean?
What?
It means don't enter. It's a bit like if the caravans are rocking, don't come a knocking. It's a bit like that. There's a sock
Oh,
on the
right.
doorknob.
I didn't know
People are
that.
in there rutting.
You're gonna
Oh.
delete that part.
Oh, this is
It won't, Clara.
this is too much for me at my age.